Hey, what's up guys? Sam here. Welcome back to another video. You might feel like the future of the MacBook Pro is kind of like this. It's a little rocky. It's coming at WWDC. Oh no, it's coming this summer. Oh, well actually it's coming in October or November. There's been a lot of conflicting rumors about the next M1X redesigned major MacBook Pro upgrade. I mean, the last time we've gotten an upgrade this big was 2016. I was having a hard time finding somebody talking about the credible rumors for this M1X MacBook Pro because there has been so much conflicting info. Today, we're talking about feature set, what's coming, what's not, when we're getting this MacBook Pro, because we've had some recent reports that they give us a better picture of when this is actually coming. So if you're excited for this, drop a like down below, hit subscribe for more. Let's go ahead and jump in. So first up, talking about the design, it's going to be an upgrade here, but I don't think it's going to be super substantial. We saw some leaked schematics, and it's essentially going to be like all of Apple's other recent products, like the rounded rectangle design language that we see on the iPad Pro, that we got on the new iMac. I mean, which the MacBook Pro is kind of already had for a while. I assume they'll probably be able to make it thinner as well, because with Apple Silicon inside, it won't get nearly as hot as like the Intel chips. And I mean, for those of you that have the 16-inch MacBook Pro, you know how much of just a disaster that computer is. Like, mine's just sitting on the floor. I restored it and I'm getting ready to sell it, which is a perfect segue into why so many people like myself are holding out for the M1X MacBook Pro, because not only is it the redesign, not only is there some good stuff coming back, more on that momentarily, but it's going to be the first computer with Apple Silicon more powerful than the M1. And a source that's actually got about an 80% credible track record has actually called it M1X. There's been a lot of speculation about the M1X name, but apparently it will actually be called M1X. And Mark Gurman, who is 90% accurate, has told us exactly what that is. And it is not just going to be a marginal upgrade over the M1. The X would sort of suggest that that's the case, but I promise it's way better. We're transitioning from an 8-core for efficiency, for high performance, to a 10-core processor for M1X, which means that you're going to be having, I believe, 8 high performance cores and 2 high efficiency cores, which means that the power on this is essentially doubling. There's also been some leaked benchmarks here. I mean, looking at this compared to the M1, it is essentially twice as fast here on a lot of common tasks, which makes sense. If you're doubling the number of high performance cores, it's going to be insane. But honestly, even on the M1, the CPU hasn't ever been lacking. It's been really fast. It's been in the GPU. And a lot of people have been asking not only Apple for years to do some seriously good GPU options, that's like essentially why Macs can't game, and there's just no developer support. And that's where Apple's stepping it up for M1X. It's going to have a 16 or 32 core GPU option. It is still rumored to be integrated. I don't think a dedicated graphics option, according to rumors, is coming until the Mac Pro redesign, which is sometime next year in 2022. And this is going to be the killer upgrade as somebody who does video editing, for people that work in Blender doing animation, for people that are mining crypto or something on their Mac. I don't know if you'd be crazy enough to do that. And most importantly, for people that are playing games, which I do. Like, I was only able to run League of Legends, which for those of you that play it, is like a not very graphically intense game. And I could barely hit 100 FPS on medium settings. On the iMac that sits behind me with like a 5700 XT AMD graphics card, I was able to get 300-ish FPS at max settings. I mean, that just goes to show you what a real GPU can do. But at this point, I don't even think M1X is going to be the most killer part of the MacBook Pro. It's going to be everything else that Apple is tweaking because they're listening to feedback. We saw that weird transition from the 2015 MacBook Pro with all these ports and slots to the 2016 with 4 USB-C ports. And at the time, I thought it was going to age well. It is not aged well at all. Every single person that does creative work has had to buy a ridiculous amount of dongles just to make the MacBook Pro work. And it's fundamentally because macOS is still a better option than Windows for most of us out here. But there have been so many shortcomings, including the touch bar. And believe it or not, Apple is actually getting rid of it. The most credible source in the game, Mark Gurman, again, 90% accurate, has said the touch bar is going away. I know I saw the comments on a video a few months back about this, but listen, it's good. It's going to be worth it because the touch bar is garbage. I've never used it. I have tried. I don't even know what they were trying to do here. It just felt like a weird way to not put a touchscreen on the Mac, and I think everybody would just rather have a touchscreen on the Mac now. Yeah, I just fundamentally think the touch bar was a huge mistake, alongside only doing USB-C, which Apple is also recognizing here. Now, when they announce this, they're not going to go up on stage and say, oh, we messed up. They're going to be like, we heard you, and they are bringing back a couple of huge things. Number one is MagSafe. So the magnetic charging cable, very similar to what you see on like the back of the new iMacs, that is coming. It's likely going to be branded as MagSafe, and it'll allow you to not rip your computer away when somebody trips on the cable. They removed it, whatever, it's coming back, and honestly, that's all that matters now. Second of all, the HDMI port. That's something that I feel like they could get away with not including, but it's still something that, like, going over to a friend's house, wanting to hook up your laptop to the TV, their Razer Blade, their normal PC has an HDMI port, and I'm just out here with my MacBook, and I'm like, well, I just can't hook it up. You know, I can't interface with this tech the same way you can. It was frustrating to see it removed. It was on the 2015. It's like we're taking a step backwards and now forward again with HDMI coming. But by far most importantly, if there was one of these three things I could have on my MacBook, it's an SD card reader. And they're bringing that back as well. Again, it was on earlier MacBooks, then they removed it. In front of me, this is my dongle I have had since the day the MacBook Pro came out in 2016. And it goes in and it reads an SD card, and it's fine, but why did we have to remove it in the first place? So that's also making it come back. So you're starting to get a much more holistic picture of what this MacBook really is now, which is the comeback story for the MacBook Pro. Like, I never thought that Apple could mess up the line that badly, but when everybody sees these new computers, it's going to be crystal clear. It's everything we've been asking for years, and it's actually coming. It feels weird to say. And of course, the question is, well, when are we getting it? Because there have been so many reports. At first, it was WWDC, and then nothing. Currently, we're hearing two timelines. Mark Gurman, who is 90% accurate, he is the best Apple source, has said it will come as early as this summer. And I thought that meant at WWDC, which is their big developer conference. Like, currently, there are no future Apple events planned. They have not announced anything. There have been no credible leaks about a concrete event this summer or something. And I don't really see Apple just dropping these through a press release. I mean, this is the MacBook Pro. This isn't the Mac Mini or a smaller line. This is the MacBook Pro. This is the laptop that people think of when they think of a MacBook. So it's possible they could do a press release. I just think it's really unlikely. They're going to want to show off how powerful this is. Plus, it's the M1X. It's not just the M1. And the second report we've gotten is a bit more dismal. It says we're not getting this until late October or early November. This is from a developer named Dylan over on Twitter. I tracked his history. He was the only source that said M1 was coming to iPad Pro in the world, and also accurately described the iMac's redesign months ahead of launch. Again, at a time when we had no rumors about this, I found this Twitter account. I was doing some digging. He says it's going to be M1X inside. There's going to be no MacBook Pro text branding on the bezel, likely because the bezels are getting thinner. And he called these other things. So I believe him. He has been saying since November of last year that the redesigned MacBook Pro is coming in Q4 of 2021, which would be October or November. So considering how he nailed the release of the iPad Pro and the new iMac, as much as I listen, I'm pissed off about this too. I didn't want to wait until October to get this new MacBook Pro, but it seems like we're probably not going to get this until another event in late fall, basically a year after we got the first Apple Silicon, the M1, in November of 2020. Let's wipe our tears away, but that is really what I think is going to happen at this point. Is there a chance Apple could do something crazy and release it or preview it this summer? Absolutely. I think that's possible. I just don't think it's likely. And considering that Apple, released the M1 in November of 2020, they generally go like a year out for big updates like this. I have no doubts that we're going to see it this year. Like, I do not see the MacBook Pro slipping to 2022. There was some fringe report that said it was going to happen. I don't see that being the case. I see the M1X MacBook Pro this year. Credible sources are saying this year. It's just between probably late summer, which again, I don't have a lot of confidence in, and late fall, October, November, after the September big iPhone and Apple Watch and AirPods releases. So it's mixed, right? Because the device is going to be worth the wait. It's just for a lot of you, like they just launched the back to school promotion. Will you have to settle on a 13-inch M1 now? Listen, it wouldn't be the worst decision in the world, but I think the M1X will be worth it. Personally, I've never been more confident about the solidness of an Apple product ahead of launch. Usually it's every year the iPhone is going to be good and the new MacBook is a nice upgrade. This is going to be the best computer they've ever made. I have no doubt in my mind. It's going to have a mini LED screen too, apparently. It's going to look phenomenal. Listen, I am beyond excited, and I hope you guys are as well, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like down below. Hit subscribe for more. I've been Sam. I'll catch you cool cats in my next video. Peace. I'm going to go. work on this M1 and cry till the M1X comes out. Like if you're crying as well.